Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
What if you laughed all through your commute? Or if you heard the funniest story while at the gym? Well, now you can. I'm Jamila Jamil, and guests on my new podcast, Wrong Turns, share their most mortifying and hilarious disaster stories. I'm talking people like Mae Martin, Bob the Drag Queen, Katherine Ryan, Jake Johnson, Margaret Cho, Simon Pegg, Penn Badgley, and so many more. So listen wherever you get your podcast, Wrong Turns, where dignity goes to die.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.
Who knew Walmart Business could help a thriving office motivate their employees? Pamela knew. She uses Walmart Business to get the assortment of items her team needs at the prices she loves.
As the office manager, it's my job to make sure my team stays on top of their game. I can get the basics like cleaning supplies and paper towels, but what they really care about, snacks.
And she can get everything they need when they need it.
Greg loves wheat crackers, Brenda craves sour candy, and Max, oh boy, he needs protein bars and milk and applesauce
It's Walmart,
and jerky.
built for your business. Who knew?
Explore what inspires you at Emory University. And Emory education combines real-world learning with collaboration and discovery.
The smartest person will be in your bio class, wants to be the best dancer that you know. And Emory allows people to kind of explore what they're interested in and find ways to turn that passion into something real.
Learn more at emory.edu.
The Sewing Club podcast is recorded on Turrbal and Yagara country. We pay our respects to the elders past and present.
Hey Kylie.
Hey Gemma.
How are you?
Great, how are you?
Yeah, really good, thank you.
Are you ready for today's episode?
I'm so ready.
I think it's going to be a meaty one, right?
I love this pattern.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's our first trouser pattern that we have reviewed on the podcast, and it's a good one.
How are you feeling about calling them trousers rather than pants, Kylie?
Well...
Are you going to be able to, go along with that?
I'm going to lean into the trouser, the trouser word. I always think of it as being like a men's suit, but it's not necessarily. No, not at all. The trouser is not gendered. I've just never called things that I wear on my bottoms trousers.
Absolutely. And I think when you actually make them, you kind of realise why they are a trouser and not a pant, because they have got those details, I think, that sort of, to my mind, make it a trouser.
Yes. And the pattern, of course, is the Coe Trouser from Daughter Judy Patterns in America.
Yep.
Great new-ish company.
Yes.
Putting out some interesting detailed patterns and also some knitting as well as sewing.
Yes, that's pretty cool.
Yes.
And patterns as well that are, they're going to give you a little bit more of a challenge than maybe some of the other patterns that we reviewed previously. So I think there's some details in there that I think will be, a good challenge, I think, for people.
Yeah, and the challenge is just in the fact that there's many steps to it, but not because you're walking in the dark, because, of course, you've got the instruction booklet to help you through.
Yep.
But should we do a description of the Coe Trouser? Because they're not very distinct.
They're pretty cool, aren't they?
Yeah,
I
really
think,
cool.
They're, high-waisted.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the real sort of thing that sets them apart from maybe a standard trouser is the kind of would you say balloon kind of legs?
A lantern or balloon.
Yeah, and the side seam that comes like a forward side seam.
Yes.
It kind of gives it almost a curved look.
Yeah, it's almost like one of those pleats or one of those ironed pressed line, but it's not like that. It's stylish, it's top-stitched, it's elongating. It also becomes the entrance of the pockets.
Yes,
Very
and they're
clever.
pretty cool. I mean, I really enjoyed sewing those. I hadn't done pockets like that before, and it was, really, really good. And, the zip, fly, everything, it's all done. It feels like you're sewing to a high level, all the steps really cover doing everything. You feel like you're doing everything properly.
Definitely, and the darts at the back. It's just, it's great.
It is great.
Loved the whole process of making this. Came together so nicely, and the end result is awesome.
Yeah. I think as well, because it is a little bit more tricky, I really chunked mine down when I was sewing them, and that really, really made it even more enjoyable. I was like, right, tonight I'm just going to do the zipper fly, or I'm just going to do the back pockets. And it kind of like, it was a really lovely process. You know, I didn't rush through it, and I love them.
That's nice. You know what, when I make pants or something that has lots of steps, I generally look at that and think, what do I not want to do the most? So I do those, like I do the belt loops, I do the pockets, you know, do all the things that kind of take a long time. And then I usually get to like the front is done and the back is done, and then it comes together quickly after that.
You're on the home straight at that point. You've done those little intricate details and you can just put them together. No.
The pattern lends itself to a variety of non-stretchy fabrics. So a lot of wovens, denims, heavyweight linen.
Twills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the fabric that we both used the same fabric, and we want to do a huge shout out to Micah from My Design for gifting us this beautiful fabric, which was perfect for this project.
It's actually a cotton lyocell drill, and it is just so good for these pants.
Yes.
Like, I don't think you could get more perfect. The weight, everything, they just sit really nicely. It was a great fabric to sew with, getting all the details. I was, so happy to be sewing with it. It definitely helped the process. So thank you so much for that. It was great.
It sews beautifully, and yes, it's the perfect weight. It's not too light or not too heavy, not too drapey, not too stiff. Perfect.
Yeah, really, really good.
So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
If you would like to see your fabric sewn up by Gemma and I, then feel free to reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. We would love that.
So Daughter Judy is the name of the company, but the designer is Chelsea. She's a one-woman show and phenomenal woman.
Amazing. So good to talk to her. Yeah. And I think when you look at her patterns, you can see, or you get a real feel for, when you read about her background, because she's worked for Ralph Lauren, trained in Milan. And when you look at those sewing patterns, they have all these extra little details that we talked about at the beginning. And I you really get a feel for that, I think.
And the fit.
Oh, I was really nervous about doing pants when we first said we're going to do pants. And I always have such a nightmare fitting pants. I'm just an awkward shape. But I put these on and they just fit. I was like, wow, these pants have been drafted for me. This is incredible.
I'm the same. I usually have to make a lot of adjustments for pants. I usually have to make the waistband tighter and give me a bit of extra space in the hip area, but I didn't have to. It has a nice amount of ease for sitting, standing, dancing, whatever you want.
Yeah, because I think the problem that I often have with pants is kind of thigh down. So I do have, quite big thighs and bigger legs, I guess, and I'm a little bit knock-kneed and, I've got all the things going on. So if it's anything tight without any stretch, it can be quite problematic.
Yeah.
But these, for me, they were like a tight or a good firm fit on the waist, which is, I'm normally fine with that. And then they kind of went out over the legs, so it was easier for me to fit.
Yeah, it lends itself to, having the tighter waistband because it has that curved waistband instead of the straight waistband, which I prefer personally because that suits my body shape, but most people's bodies are not straight up and down. Everybody has curves and things like that, so but you can adjust it as well.
I agree with you on the curved waistband. I think that definitely gives you a better fit. It just hugs in the right places. Like if you think about your torso, it kind of makes sense having a curved waistband,
Yeah. I like having that secureness of the top being a bit tighter. So that I don't feel like the pants are going to fall down.
Yeah, I agree.
mean the trousers.
Yeah.
In
Pants,
fact,
trousers.
You know what? It's not even trousers.
No, this is true. Yeah.
If you want to find this pattern under the hashtag, the best place to look is hashtag Coe, C-O-E, trouser.
But you will also find it with the S as well.
That's true.
So search for both.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we spoke to Chelsea and we found out a lot about her background and where all of this patterny goodness comes from. And we are so lucky that she is coming to the pattern world.
Absolutely. And I think Chelsea's really thought about who she's designing for. We talked a lot about who are Daughter Judy patterns for.
For me, it's it's everybody. And it's there's no sort of consumer consumer pillar of like who exactly this person is, but it's just like it's a maker, it's a mom, it's a lawyer, it's a doctor, it's a social worker, it's everybody. So for me, it's important for them to feel like that the Daughter Judy Patterns are like amplifying and elevating their lifestyle in some sort of way. And from what I kind of like gleaned from the community also when I started digging into Instagram and like people around and saying like towards me saying that I couldn't really find myself in the home sewing world, I found other people that felt a little bit similar to me as well. So it feels weird to be like, it's everybody, like, you know, it's not just for like one, but it is for everybody. And I think that's the great thing is like I can present it in a way, but then somebody else can take it and make it their own, and maybe they're putting it in a fabric that I would never wear, but they've made it for themselves. And I think even more importantly is that, you know, with the off-the-rack clothing is there's a lot of lacking in sizes for the larger sizes, and so that's also the opportunity for people, you know, to make their size that's going to fit them in something that is interesting and like what they would want to wear instead of what's being offered, you know, on the rails in the stores.
That's so great. I mean,
trousers for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Trousers for everyone.
I do get a really boutique vibe from the patterns.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're elevated pieces.
They are elevated pieces. They're like, you know, when you go into like a boutique-y shop that like it has all those details in the pattern.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it so special when you're actually sewing it. Yeah, that you get that kind of high-end finish.
Yeah.
You know?
I definitely am trying to bring in some more just like interesting things that are still very much attainable to a home sewer, like top stitching. Like I will die on that hill. Like top stitching for everything. And it's funny because I feel like when we grew up and we were working through like the McCalls and simplicities of like our mothers and grandmothers' age, you know, it was all just lots of facings, no top stitching, very simple, clean finish, and it's great. But that added element of the top stitching, it just completely changes what you perceive the garment as. Because if you take the Coe Trousers and strip all the top stitching away, okay, like good fit pant, you know, interesting silhouette, but then you add that top stitching and you're like, oh, these are some pants, you know, it's like very different.
Top stitching is a feature that shows itself in all of the Daughter Judy sewing patterns.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Daughter Judy stamp, isn't it, on the patterns? And I really like it. It gives it that high-end finishing.
It's worth taking the time to do the nice top stitching.
Yeah.
And I love yours, that it's so contrasting. I wish I'd done more of a contrast with mine.
Yeah, but yours looks great. You know, it works really well. I was nervous of doing the contrasting because, let's be honest, when you're doing contrasting top stitching, it has to be
spot on,
just perfect.
Yep.
And don't look too closely because there's probably little wobbles here and there. But
No
for the
one's
most part, I was happy with my top stitching. And I like because I've got blue trousers, not pants.
Oh, they're navy. They're quite
navy,
like
dark, yeah. And the top stitching is white. So
love them.
Yeah,
love yours so much. Coveting yours.
Yeah. I think where the top stitching, the contrast top stitching really works is where you've got that forward side seam with the curve, because it really kind of like highlights that, which is such a key design aspect of the trousers.
Yes, and I think if it was just a regular side seam and it's kind of that lantern shape, it sits differently on the body. I really like that forward side seam because it does elongate the legs, because I'm kind of not very tall, and sometimes more voluminous pants kind of shorten me again, and that's just the way visually things happen.
Yep.
But with this side seam being a little bit forward, it gives that illusion of a kind of a straight line, which translates in your brain as being long, even though I'm no taller than I was before. But it's about these trickery seams.
And I quite like the fact, for me anyway, I feel with the pockets being where they are because of those side seams, they feel like they're in the right place. Because sometimes with pockets I feel like I'm putting my hands too far back, but you don't get that with these, so it's really good.
I really enjoyed sewing those pockets with the extra facings as well, with the double facings.
Yeah, that was cool.
When I was cutting it out, I'm thinking, what is this piece?
And there are moments in the instructions where I had to take a moment and just, do a quick little... What's actually happening here, you know?
Yes. But when it all comes together...
Beautiful.
Mwah.
Yeah. So Chelsea talked a little bit about the need to really wear home-sewn garments in when you make them, which I found really, really interesting.
I think the one element that's always missing from the recipe that is a sewing pattern is time. Like, people just don't let their clothes break in enough to get to the space where, like, we forget that we buy these things off the rack and they've been like sandblasted and enzyme washed and all this stuff to get all of this like beautiful fades and things like that, and just allowing the fabric to like find its voice. And I think denims and twills have such a strong ability to mold to you. And this is like one of the things that I write in some of my instructions, where I'm like, go for a walk, like bend down a few times, like break this in the same way when you get your pants out of the dryer. Like, you know, I'm always like squatting, so like bust them back in kind of thing. And those like fit issues that people will call out immediately. And I'm like, I get you. However, the fabric has life in it and you have to let it kind of work itself out. We were talking about like the straight waistband versus the curved waistband. Well, the back rise is like practically all on bias. So if you like start breaking that pant in with a straight waistband, all of a sudden it's like clicking closer and closer and closer to your body because the fabric is like opening up and molding to you.
It's a very important point. So basically make the pants and then take your dog for a walk and then watch a movie and go to work. And
Squat.
Get in and out of your car.
Without actually busting any seams, but you know, get into lots of different positions. Make sure you can move in them and really encourage the fabric to
I think she's
breathe.
just meaning like live in them a bit before, you know, over fitting them.
Yeah, or casting them to the side in the naughty corner.
Yeah, that's right. Did you make a toile?
I did. Because I was so nervous about making pants. I was like, I tend to make toiles anyway, as you know. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, but my record of me in pants, I'm going to have to just mock these up. But I literally put them on. And after I made the toile, I did have to make a couple of little tweaks. Mm-hmm. I made the size 4, I think. Yeah,
I made the size 4.
I had to go out a little bit at the waist when I toiled it. That's where and the crotch very size. I probably should have made the 6, but
I should have made a 2.
Yeah. Because if we both, I went a little bit bigger than the 4. Because if I'm making the same size as you, then they're definitely too big for you.
I mean, usually we're just one size apart.
Yeah.
Normally sometimes you sew yours first, and I get to try them on.
That's true.
But I just wanted to make them with any alterations, because the message I was getting from people that are making these is that the fit is so good, and we're getting a pattern from, you know, a pattern designer that makes patterns for fancy boutique brands.
Yeah.
So I thought, let's just sew this with no alterations and see how spot on it fits me. And, well, I chose the wrong size, but knowing what it is, like, it will fit like a glove when I make the next lot.
So this was your first?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, didn't have time to make 2 pairs of pants, trousers, but they're very wearable toile. Like, I would make very little adjustments, maybe a little bit in the rise, a little bit lower in the front rise, and then pretty much nothing else.
Well, my toile was literally, my mum literally picked up and said, "Do you want these?" So mine was also fairly wearable as well. Like,
did she take them?
She's taken them.
Oh,
yeah.
that's nice.
They still need hemming, I think, but yeah, she's got them.
That was the other thing. I haven't fully hemmed mine yet, because I'm not sure I made them as it was exactly from the pattern. I knew they'd be too long for me and I'd have to hem them. And I wasn't sure, because of the shape of it, if I could just cut them off and hem them.
Yeah, got you.
But I think it'll work.
Yeah.
And then Chelsea said that, because the bottom hem is not on the straight grain, it's actually on the bias, just because of the way the pattern works.
Yep.
So when you do go to hem it, you have a little bit of stretch to play around with, so you can get that hem fitting and sitting nicely without having any like weird puckering.
It's not like that mirrored hem where it folds back on itself. You can kind of ease it in because it is slightly on the bias.
Yeah, it's sort of a little bit tapered, I guess, at the bottom, but because it's got that bias cut, you could just make it work.
Yeah.
Did you shorten yours?
A little bit, yes, I did, because mine sit just on the ankle, and I can't remember how much. Not by a lot. I would say maybe 1 centimetre or 2.
Yeah.
But
I like where they end on you. I think that's perfect.
They're easy to wear with flats, and I think I could get away with a small heel, but I'm more likely to wear them with flats, I think, like loaferys or like Birks or, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Like I said, and in the pictures that you'll see of us wearing the trousers. I haven't hemmed mine. I've just cuffed them because I'm still undecided, and that's my prerogative.
Yeah. I actually played around with the idea of cuffing them as well.
Yep.
And I was kind of toying between the two, and in the end, the family vote was on just hemming them. But I think yours look pretty cool. I think the cuffs do work.
I do. I think I do prefer the polished look of yours because, I mean, if I knew that I was going to cuff them, then I'd probably do a different seam finish on the bottom of the pants. Like I did binding finish on the inner
that looks
waistband.
So good. Yeah.
If I'm planning on cuffing something, I don't really want to see the overlocking stitches.
True.
But it's, it works because it's got that slight taper so it stays cuffed.
Yeah, true.
More of a casual look. So it's not really what I was going for. So I am gonna hem them. I'm just not sure of the length yet.
Yeah, you need to wear them. You need to bust them in.
Exactly. I haven't worn them in yet properly.
Yeah,
and
then you'll
I'll
know.
hem them.
Yeah.
If you do purchase a pattern from Daughter Judy, you're not only supporting a women-owned business, but you're also supporting garment workers in factories.
Yeah,
they give back.
She gives back. Yeah, she's an amazing donation to, and I think she works alongside the Clean Clothes campaign as well.
I knew when I started Daughter Judy, I wanted to have some sort of like give back portion, and I started in the industry, very naive to what the realities were around the manufacturing of apparel, and there was this documentary that came out, I think around like 2013, 14 or something, called The True Cost. And it was a documentary about like garment workers around the world. And it was incredibly heartbreaking and just shocking. And I've had the luxury of going overseas and working with factories, being in factories, and everything was, not what you were seeing in that documentary, but you never knew if they were like outsourcing or whatnot. And for me, apparel is not going anywhere. Like, this industry is never shutting down. As long as humans are walking this earth, we're going to be making clothes. Now, hopefully our consumption kind of like chills out a little bit, but we are still going to continue to be making clothes. And I believe that it's really important to protect those that are most vulnerable within this system. And a majority of them, I think about 80%, are women. And so I wanted to figure out some sort of, give back portion. And so I donate that 5% of every sale to these organizations who are helping people like get better health care, get back wages, just protect their working environment and all of those things, and just making sure we're getting rid of the bad labor that's out there. Because again, like, the apparel industry isn't going anywhere.
Yes, being a sewist, we know exactly what goes into making a garment, and we do it for fun in our own free time. But for some people, this is their every day, and we want to make sure that they're looked after.
Yeah, the conditions are what they should be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's very important. It took me a whole 2 hours to cut this pattern out. Not because it's difficult or anything like that, but I was just really taking my time with making sure that it was all perfectly like straight, and I took the time to measure the grain line, because the pants, the front and the back, are kind of a strange shape, like they're not.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
Hello, it's Brooke Devard from Naked Beauty. Join me each week for unfiltered discussion about beauty trends, self-care journeys, wellness tips, and the products we absolutely love and cannot get enough of. If you are a skincare obsessive and you spend 20 plus minutes on your skincare routine, this podcast is for you. Or if you're a newbie at the beginning of your skincare journey, you'll love this podcast as well, because we go so much deeper than beauty. I talk to incredible and inspiring people from across industries about their relationship with beauty. You'll also hear from skincare experts. We break down lots of myths in the beauty industry. If this sounds like your thing, search for Naked Beauty on your podcast app and listen along. I hope you'll join us.
Who knew Walmart Business could help a thriving office motivate their employees? Pamela knew. She uses Walmart Business to get the assortment of items her team needs at the prices she loves.
As the office manager, it's my job to make sure my team stays on top of their game. I can get the basics like cleaning supplies and paper towels, but what they really care about snacks.
And she can get everything they need when they need it.
Greg loves wheat crackers, Brenda craves sour candy, and Max, oh boy, he needs protein bars and milk and applesauce
It's
and
Walmart,
jerky.
built for your business. Who knew?
They're not straight along the grain. So to actually cut along the correct grain line, it takes a little bit more time because basically what you want to do is like line up that grain line with the selvage and just measure it at a couple of points and just make sure it's even. And then I really took my time marking all the notches. I loved all the notches.
Yeah, very detailed in that sense, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, don't skip that part.
No.
That's going to save you time when you're putting it together, even though at the time it seems like an extra task, but those notches are your friends.
And also, like, taking your time, Carly, you're actually following one of Chelsea's top tips there, which is, slow sewing, take your time. Remember why you're doing it, don't rush through. But also another really good tip that she gave that I wanted to share is that, there are a few tricky bits in this pattern, and I'm sure we'll get into that. But if you've not done a pocket this way before or a zip fly like this before, just take some scrap fabric and practice and see how it comes together, particularly with all the top stitching and everything, because you want it to look good at the end. You want to wear them. So if you have a little practice, a little sample, and then do it on the good fabric, because like she says, you often, invest a lot of money in fabric, good fabric. It's worth doing that. It's worth taking your time to get a feeling or an understanding for how it goes together or how those particular instructions work.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really good tip.
Definitely. And one thing that I didn't realize, and I realized when I was in the middle of sewing it, and I wish that I had known this first, it's my fault for not reading all the instructions, but if you are wanting to make the belt that is in the sample pictures, the belt piece isn't a pattern piece. So it's just a simple rectangle, but it just so you know, and when you're cutting out, leave enough fabric
that's
for
a good,
that,
that's a
or
good
make
tip.
sure you've got a good position for that, because you might get caught out and not have enough length.
True. That's a really good point. I mean, I think I actually had to piece my belt together because I'm not sure quite why I didn't have enough or what happened, but I just ended, and it was fine. I just had a join in, in one area that I tried to sort of disguise, and it's a dark fabric. You can't really see it, so it's fine. But, that's the other thing. If you find you haven't got enough for your belt, a belt can be pieced together.
Yes. Yeah. You don't need, it's not a very long belt because it's not a tie. It has the D-rings.
That's true.
So it wouldn't be as long as if it was just a tie.
Yeah. And it's quite simple to make as well. Like, don't be put off like, oh my gosh, I'm making a belt. It's pretty straightforward.
Well, it was more the stopping the sewing to go and cut again. I was like,
Yeah.
So if that's you and you wouldn't like to do that, then just
cut
bear
it at
in
the
mind
beginning.
cut it at the beginning. I like to cut it one day and then I sew it a different day.
Yeah,
so,
I did the same. I actually took my stuff into Sewing Gem because there's a big cutting table there, and it just speeds up the whole process and makes it more accurate.
I do the same thing.
Yeah.
Why use a small table at home when I've got the big table at work?
Because, there is the option of the floor, but no, I don't feel like that.
Even a dining table is just in a bit of an awkward height or something.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Having that high cutting table.
If you have a high cutting table, then definitely use that. I guess the kitchen bench can work quite well. If you've got a high one of those without a sink in your way, then use that.
Yeah. My kitchen island is quite small, but it is exactly an A0 piece of paper.
Great.
That's how big the top is. So I know that I can cut patterns out on the kitchen, but that's only if it's clear.
Yeah, well, doesn't sound like my house.
And then the other thing to note when you're cutting it out is that you do need to, this is the other thing that I got caught up on. I, for some reason, thought I was just cutting it all out of this beautiful fabric from mica, but you do need to have a lining fabric as well.
Yes.
I just use my scraps. I just go into the scrap bin, pick something from there.
And yours is really cool because it kind of like is, I wouldn't say contrasty, but it kind of pops, doesn't it, a little bit. Mine is just a boring navy, so you can't really see that
Classic,
it's different.
though.
Well, maybe.
I like to have some fun on the inside with the pockets.
Yep. What do you think was the hardest thing about sewing this pattern?
Who knew Walmart Business could help a thriving office motivate their employees? Pamela knew. She uses Walmart Business to get the assortment of items her team needs at the prices she loves.
As the office manager, it's my job to make sure my team stays on top of their game. I can get the basics like cleaning supplies and paper towels, but what they really care about snacks.
And she can get everything they need when they need it.
Greg loves wheat crackers, Brenda craves sour candy, and Max, oh boy, he needs protein bars and milk and applesauce
It's
and
Walmart,
jerky.
built for your business. Who knew?
I think
Because you've sewn a lot of pants, right?
I have sewn a lot of pants. And there were quite a lot of techniques in here that were new to me, which that's what I love from doing and following the instructions, because I love learning new techniques. And the technique of finishing the waistband where you fold it, it's hard to explain this, but if you're looking at the pattern piece, you instead of doing it, I didn't even know how to explain this. Usually you do, what do you even call this?
You fold it back on itself.
You fold it back on itself and you fold it and you sew it right side together and then you flip it inside out. But you end up never getting that right. Or it's really hard to get that
really sharp corner.
Yeah. So this might actually be how things are made in the factory. I don't know. Because I've never seen this in a home sewing pattern before. So maybe this is an insider secret.
Yeah, and I think there were lots of things in there that I felt, I don't know for sure, but could have come from industry, like the pockets and things like that. They just are really well finished. For me, the hardest bit was definitely the zipper fly, simply because I haven't sewn loads and loads of pants. So I did have to take a little bit of time to read my instructions and make sure I got it right, because it does take a bit of thinking about this facing and that facing. But I think the instructions are written well enough that, you know, take your time. If you haven't done one before, do a little practice, and you know, all of a sudden you find yourself with a, you know, fully sewn zipper fly in front of you and you're like, yeah, this is awesome. I did that. So
it's important to just take each step by step, following the instructions. And if you have never sewn a fly before, I would suggest just getting a pair of jeans and just sort of having that near you and just seeing, okay, this part will end up being that part when it's finished, and then maybe that will help visualize.
Absolutely. I think particularly if you're a visual person, you need to be able to see where you're aiming. And I think, definitely do a practice if you haven't sewn one in a while or have never sewn one. I wouldn't say this pattern is, you know, impossible for a beginner sewer. So you just need to follow the tips, which is take your time.
Yes.
And maybe just practice a little bit and you'll get there. But you probably want to have made a few things before you dive into these pants.
Definitely.
Trousers.
And there's a lot of stitches that you might, you know, want to test on scrap fabric as well. You might want to test the length of the top stitching, because you might want to do a longer stitch length for your top stitching if you're using a thicker thread, and you might use regular thread in the bottom, in the bobbin, and a top stitching thread, and you want to test that. Yeah. Test the length, what looks visually how you like, and what works with the fabric that you're using. So also the bar tacks. You want to practice doing bar tacks.
Absolutely. Always to get the right thickness. And I used a denim thread for my top stitching with just a normal thread in the bobbin. And I did make my stitch length slightly longer. And I think that works quite well when you are, like you say, using that thicker thread. Gives you a better finish. But bar tacks, you know, you don't just click bar tack and do it, because you don't know what
is a bar tack.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, a bar tack is really just a strengthening zigzag stitch that on like a high stress area, like pockets, flies, anything where there's kind of high stress.
And they're just like a small little zigzag, but so close together that it just becomes like almost like a solid little tiny rectangle, doesn't it?
You see them a lot on jeans.
Yes.
And then trousers, you know, it's the way that they have the belt loops attached.
Yes. And you say high stress points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes they can be a bit fiddly, and sometimes I find that you have to be in control of the machine when you're doing bar tacks, because sometimes because you're doing such small little stitches, it doesn't look like it's moving, and sometimes it's not moving. Sometimes it's good to just
give it a little nudge.
Make sure it's moving a little bit every time.
So you don't get that kind of bird's nesting underneath or whatever, which is
chunk.
easy. Yeah.
Underneath.
I think I might have one of those in there, so don't look too closely.
Well, at least it won't fall off.
Yeah, well, my pockets are going nowhere.
I made the most beautiful buttonholes in my test fabric. And then, of course, when I did the real one, it got caught on the bulkiness of the thing and didn't make it long enough. So I've changed the button that I used to a smaller button.
I had a similar experience with my buttonholes. It sewed it absolutely fine on my 12. And because I have 2 machines, so I actually had one set up with my top stitching thread and one with my navy thread, which I know is a luxury and not everyone's going to have that, but I thought, well, they're here, I may as well do that. So I did my buttonhole not with my top stitching thread, but for some reason when I came to do my actual pants, my trousers, it just wouldn't do it. So I ended up unpicking, and then I used the other machine and it was fine. So I don't know. Buttonholes, they can just sometimes play up, can't they?
Yeah, I haven't cut the whole of this buttonhole that we're talking about, so I might go back and do it properly because you should have seen this buttonhole that I did. It was so perfect. It just looked so gorgeous. It was one of those teardrop type ones that have the slightly bigger hole end because I was planning on using one of our denim buttons.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah.
So which machine do you use for your buttonholes?
I just use my Bernina.
Okay, yeah. And that was what saved the day, actually. It was my faff that had a little moment. My Bernina came through.
Well, it was my fault for not really giving that area a very good press before I did it. And then after I did it, I pressed it and I realised, and got the clapper on it, I realised that was what I should have done before I tried.
Bit of a hammer.
Yeah. There's a lot of tips in there.
There are.
Flattening things with the hammer. This is a really good booklet. This is like a masterclass in sewing these trousers.
And high-end finishing as well.
Really, really thoroughly enjoyed sewing these pants. I don't know. I wasn't really feeling like I needed pants, so I wasn't excited about it before. But then when I started on those pocket facings, I was like, yes, this is what I like to do. I love putting these things together, and when they just turn out nicely, it's just
there's
so good.
Lots of satisfying moments, I think, in this sew. And I think you're right. When you do the different bits, it's really satisfying. But for me, it was putting them on and going, oh, they fit. Wow, this is so cool. Like the rise, it all just, it's a good fit over my bottom.
Yep.
I was like,
they fit you
winning.
perfectly.
Yeah.
They're so good.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to size down and do some more contrasting on top stitching on my other pair because they're lovely, but those are just divine.
Oh, thank you. And I love yours. I think they look great.
Well, they might fit you.
No, that's true, actually. I had to steal them.
What about those white D-rings with the top stitching? They just match so nicely.
I got D-rings in like silver, gold, black. I wasn't quite sure where I was going with it when I brought them, but yeah, the white just looked right with the top stitching, so decision made. What label did you use?
Oh, I used something from the Advent calendar, which is one of the because an artist designed the packaging for us, and then she also designed a couple of labels for us, and I've used one of those.
Nice.
I'm not going to say what it is, but if you want to see it, you could just have a look at the blog.
Oh, that's cool. I used a classic, like metallic me-made one.
Oh, yes.
I like the way you use the binding on the inside of the waistband. It looks really cool. I kind of wish I did that.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't necessary.
But it looks good.
It does look nice.
Yeah, it looks lovely.
And then it means that when you are sewing the waistband down, you're not having to deal with trying to catch right on the edge of the fold.
Yes, true.
So it is a bit of a time saver in that way. Like it does take a little bit of extra time to put it on, but not too much. You do it when it's flat or when it's not attached to the garment, when it's just a single piece.
Yeah.
I didn't even finish the underside. I've just done like the binding and it's just wrapped around and it's raw on the other side because it gets stitched down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I was trying to reduce the amount of bulk that was in the waistband.
That worked really well. So, yeah, for me with the fit, like I say, it was really good when I did the first twirl. But I did make a couple of little tweaks when I made the good version because it fitted me on the waist, but I didn't know if I would actually be able to eat. So I was like, I'm just going to add a little bit in here because I felt like there wasn't room for, a big roast dinner or something. So I added like a centimetre on the waist. Maybe it's probably 1.5 in total. And then I added a tiny bit to the rise as well, 0.5 on each rise. And then then they were just like literally spot on. That's literally all I had to do apart from shortening the hem slightly. That was the only alteration.
Yeah. And how did you alter the waistband? Did you just take it off the end or did you change the shape of the curve?
I just, because it wasn't actually very much, I just added to the end. I just continued it slightly and obviously slightly on the pants as well and just sort of like graded it down.
Yeah.
I just continued that same flow of curve, if you like. The other thing to note as well is if you are someone with a sway back, which I am, a curved waistband is definitely your friend. So,
Yes.
it's worth, if you've got a sway back, thinking about it or using the curved waistband.
Because most of the curve is in the back.
It's in the back and it tends to go into the small of the back there. So that's where you kind of need it to be tighter. So, it works better. Otherwise, you end up with excess fat or a gap. You end up with this big hole in your back, basically, which is often my problem when I'm in store-bought pants, you know.
You bend down and then it just creates
exactly.
that gaping.
Yeah, and nobody wants gaping there.
No, it's and that I mean, you can change it to a flat one and swap that out. But yes, the curved waistband, it does tend to fit me better than a straight waist.
Yeah, I'm the same.
What about the fly part was so well explained.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that the method that is in this booklet is pretty foolproof. Like you just follow every single step and just make sure it's correct before you move to the next step.
Make sure your pieces are the right way up.
Yes.
Use the writing to know. And if you've got fabric that looks the same on one side to the back side of the fabric, mark it. And also mark your numbers, because when you're reading, it will say piece 5, piece 6. Make sure you know which facing piece is piece 5 or 6. Just mark everything, go slow, and you literally can't really go wrong.
Yeah. I really like the names of the facings.
Yeah.
The palm facing and the knuckle facing.
I know. I'm like
what
which
is
one's
that?
which, you know?
I'm thinking knuckle facing. What is that? Knuckle. No, it said knuckle pocket facing.
Knuckle, I guess.
And then I thought, what is that? And then when you put it together,
I
get it. The knuckles and the palms. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, if you're not sure, if you've not done it before, just make sure everything's really well labelled. Really take your time, line everything up, make sure every single notch is on there. It's just the right side, but just the wrong side. And just go slow.
Yeah, and Chelsea did mention that around about when you're doing the fly section, you want to make sure that they end up being at the same height. So that when you add your waistband, it all fits in nicely together.
Yeah.
And you don't have kind of like offset waistband when it's joining. I really want everyone to try these pants.
I agree.
I've seen a lot of people printing them through our business.
Okay. Having a bit of a moment.
It is having a bit of a moment, and people are raving about it, and that's why I wanted to have a look at these.
Yeah. I'm one of those people. I was pleasantly surprised, and as I said, my mum was like, stealing my toile. So there's two more there.
Sally was hoping for a pair as well.
Oh, okay.
I might make her some.
They're just kind of cool.
Yeah, they are.
Love them.
I have seen some really cool ones on Instagram under the hashtag.
Oh, really? What was your favourites?
Oh, I saw some red ones, which I wouldn't have thought to make red ones, but they looked amazing.
Okay.
And I saw someone made a pair out of all cut up jeans. So they had all the different fades from the different jeans. And and there were some shorts as well.
Nice. I was thinking they'd make excellent golf shorts actually for my mum. With a nice belt and everything. Anyway.
I think I would love a white pair as well.
Yeah, nice. I agree.
I saw someone made – actually, we saw
White
someone
denim?
made 5 pairs.
Yes.
And they made a reel of – and they were every single one of them I would like in my wardrobe. But the white
I agree.
White denim one looked
the white
so
denim
nice.
looked really cool.
That would suit you, Jem.
Yeah.
You love
on the list.
white.
I do love white.
Yeah. But
or blue.
Yeah. But then the denim ones have that more edgy street, like really cool jeans vibe that have the different volume in the leg. And
probably easier to wear like a day-to-day, like, a sort of twill or whatever. I'm like, where would I will wear them, but I haven't quite decided when that's going to be, particularly with it heating up here now in Brisbane. I'm like, how much wear am I going to get out of them? Will I have to wait now around for next winter? But I think denim's always so easy to wear. Like you can wear it any time. That's the nice thing about it.
Yes. And that was Chelsea's pick for her favourite fabric as well for the Coe.
She also talked about an amazing wool pair that she made for her sister's wedding, which just sounded beautiful. Like you can see that the weight of the wool would just hang really, would just be perfect.
Be so nice.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Hopefully we'll see more and more examples.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Seeing as it is a fairly newish pattern.
Yeah.
But so far it is gaining a lot of traction, so the masses can't be wrong.
No, watch this space, I reckon. It's going to see more and more popping up. So.
Yeah. In fact, I want to see more and more patterns from Daughter Judy.
Yeah, I agree. Because they're they're different, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're offering something quite different, I think, all the different pants and, the coats and things and...
So many nice lines. It's all about the details and the lines.
And the top stitching and the,
There's just so many things I love about this pattern.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, there's nothing, I can't fault any of it. I don't find any errors in the pattern at all.
Yeah, this is me being really pedantic here. The only other thing I would say is that I found the key that's been used for, say, the lining wrong side and the lining right side. Like, you can see there's a difference there, but I had to really think about that. It wasn't super, super obvious to me. So just make sure you're really clear about that as well, because you don't want to get that mixed up.
That's true. And then there's something you could add, like when you're doing the pocket, you could definitely French seam that bottom seam instead of doing the overlocking if you wanted it to have a more
nice finish.
Yeah, because it's just one line.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this pattern is a really great pattern if you've sewn quite a few things, simple dresses, you've done an invisible zipper, you've made a few linen tops, and maybe you're ready for a bit of a challenge. Mm-hmm. This is the sweet spot for that. I think this is a really good place to go next. Yep. Don't dive into this first, but when you're sort of a little bit further along your sewing journey, this is a good place to go and it will give you the challenge that you need.
Yeah, and hopefully you won't encounter too many of the multiple fitting issues that come along with trousers in general because they're less forgiving in non-woven fabrics.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's mainly just fitting the waist and the hip, really, the rise, and you don't have to worry too much about the leg, which can be quite problematic depending on
because it's
each
a bit
individual.
More voluminous. You're not getting those sort of drag lines.
Yeah,
and things
exactly,
like that.
exactly.
So there was just one little part that I wasn't sure about in the instructions, and that is step 13 when you have already put the fly extension on. Then you clip into that seam. It's unclear to me in the instructions if you are meant to clip through all of those layers. I didn't think that you had to clip through all those layers, especially because there's overlocking on that fly extension. So I just clipped the one layer and that worked fine. And I think potentially that's what you should be doing.
Yeah, I think you're right, but I did have a similar moment of what exactly am I? Yeah, what should I do here? So it
flipping into your work is nerve-wracking.
It's always a moment, isn't it, where you go, oh, am I definitely doing this right? So I think err on the side of caution and definitely do the one layer. And
I cut the one layer and then I flipped it and I thought, well, that works.
That works.
So I'm going to keep it like that. Yeah, but apart from that, it was very straightforward.
And I think it's worth noting that these instructions are written for complex bits of sewing.
Yes.
So it's not sewing a side seam. It's a bit more complex. So it's going to be a little, as we keep saying, take your time and get a fly in front of you. Mm-hmm. All of those things are definitely going to help.
I do appreciate when there is a bit of an overlap of those facings at the front fly. You know how some jeans, have you ever worn a pair of jeans where you can just see the zip sometimes, like when you're sitting down, it kind of like opens a bit. Yeah. So there's a 1/4 inch, which is like 7 mil or whatever, there where you've got a bit of an overlap, which conceals that zipper and the top stitching that you've done underneath there. Yeah. And I like that because it's a bit more forgiving when you're sitting down and you're probably not going to see the zipper.
And those details are what's really important, it says there should be around 6 mil gap when the left is aligned at the top marking and rises our match, and that's making sure that you're not going to get that zip popping out.
Yeah, I really dislike when you make something and you can see the zip.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's
particularly when there's white top stitching there. You don't want to see that.
No. So let's get to ratings.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so should we start with size inclusivity?
Well, that's got to get top marks.
Yeah, it's really good. So there's two different size ranges, isn't there, Kylie? Mm-hmm. There's a DD range.
And a JJ.
And a JJ.
So it goes from 0 in the DD and then the 34 is the top of the JJ. And she developed those size charts in-house as well.
Yeah, she's worked really hard on that. And, you can see that there's a wide size range on offer.
Yeah.
So we give that 5.
Very good.
Yeah.
And
drafting?
Well, that's obviously where Chelsea shines. That's her profession. She's a professional pattern maker.
And it shows.
It shows.
It's great.
Yep.
Goes together beautifully. 5.
Top marks there.
Yeah.
And the design. I mean,
it's cool.
Yeah.
Instructions.
Pretty good.
Yeah. And as we've said, like dealing with quite complex sewing.
A couple of tiny little things.
So
I can't give it top marks, but
pretty good.
Pretty good.
A good solid 4.
Yeah, a solid 4 for that one.
Yeah. Difficulty.
Ooh. Definitely is not a beginner pattern.
No. We've said this is a good next steps pattern.
Very adventurous.
Very adventurous beginner.
Beginner to intermediate.
I think intermediate I think is where it sits. So I think maybe a 4.
Yeah. It's got a lot of elements. There's lots of
meaty
right
sewing
angle,
in there.
flipping into things, top stitching, a fly.
Yeah.
Lots of things.
Yeah. The inseam pockets.
Yeah.
Is that what they're called? What are those pockets?
Yeah, they're inseam.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Didn't know if they had a special name or anything.
No,
but
did you see at the front, there's this extra little section on pocket stays. So pocket stays.
Yes.
So it's saying that the front pockets in heavier fabrics may gape when worn, and to prevent this, you can size up to the hip to make more room, and then you can add pocket stays, which keep the pockets from, I guess, bunching up when you wear.
I love that. Like you're learning so much from patterns, and that's it's cool learning new things.
It's the difference between buying some fast fashion and having a look at a boutique.
You aren't going to get pocket stays on fast fashion for sure.
No.
Yeah. Okay, so price. Now this is a bit of a different one, isn't it, to rate because
and we usually have like $1 sign, $2 signs, $3 signs.
But Chelsea does things a little bit differently, doesn't she, Kylie? So she has a tiered pricing system.
Yep.
3 tiers.
Yeah, so the top price, I guess, is $20.
Yeah.
But then there's also lower prices of 17 and 14. Where the 14 is like a limited edition. There's only a few every month. And this is to kind of pay what you can, but also remembering that the money goes to the pattern maker and to the charity as well.
Yeah, exactly. Important that, that charity donation as well. And I think the percentage obviously which is given to, the charity itself increases, doesn't it, when you go in the higher tiers?
Yeah, so it's just 5%.
Yeah, exactly.
And that shows you on the website. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Something a bit different.
Yeah, but it was a bit difficult for us to rate, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We were like, how do we do this? So
I think we're saying that for the most part it still would fit into the $2 signs.
$2 signs,
yes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's US dollars, by the way.
Yeah. And overall.
How
many Sewing Club stamps do we give it?
4.5
Sewing Club stamps. Whoop, whoop.
It's a great pattern, I
Solid.
think. Yeah. People are making 5 of them. That's how good they are.
Yeah. And we're going to go away and make more, clearly.
Yeah. I want to make a white pattern.
Yeah. We'll be matchy.
Yeah. Maybe I'll get white and do like navy top stitching and then we'll be matching but opposites.
Do it. Yay.
Probably won't.
No. Time.
Yeah. Hi, Sally.
Hey, dudes.
Hey.
Hello.
What have you got for us for the next episode?
Oh my God, it's so cool. The next pattern is the Ogden Cami by True Bias.
A real classic.
A popular pattern, if we must say. Very popular.
Yeah, so pretty. And it was so lovely because when I reached out to Kelly, she said she's been listening to the podcast.
How exciting is that?
It's so cool. It's so lovely. Yeah, we are thrilled.
Honoured that.
Yeah. It's so sweet.
We couldn't not do the Ogden Cami.
No. Yeah, it's a staple.
It's a tried and true.
Yes, exactly.
Well and truly. I feel like this is going to be a very high rating pattern because it is, I feel like most people that I know have sewn at least one.
How many have you made?
I made one top and then I made one into like a longer dress with like an elastic waist a little while ago. Like that was many, many years ago.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
Like so many new patterns have come out and have taken my focus, but this is a really good, solid pattern. Very, very good.
Yeah, agreed.
A must have.
It's a wardrobe staple for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think since I made it, and I've made a couple, they've actually introduced thicker straps.
Yes,
yeah,
I think there's 2 size ranges and they have the original one, which has thin straps and no darts, and then the larger sizes have the darts and like a wider strap.
Exciting. Well, looking forward to getting into it.
So if you'd like to sew along with Kylie and Jem, head on over to the True Bias website for the usual Sewing Club podcast discount.
Woohoo!
And there's a little discount on the Ogden cami. Woohoo! Yay!
So thanks so much for listening, everyone. We would love it if you could join our Facebook group, the Sewing Club Podcast Community, where we can share our makes and tips and tricks along the way.
And we have an Instagram as well, which is sewingclub.podcast. We have feedback forms attached to that. You can see our garments in the wild. We post videos there, and we love hearing all the feedback, so keep it coming.
We'd love it if you could subscribe, rate, review the podcast. All of that helps to get this podcast to as many people as possible.
Till next time.
Till next time.
Who knew Walmart Business could help a thriving office motivate their employees? Pamela knew. She uses Walmart Business to get the assortment of items her team needs at the prices she loves.
As the office manager, it's my job to make sure my team stays on top of their game. I can get the basics like cleaning supplies and paper towels, but what they really care about, snacks.
And she can get everything they need when they need it.
Greg loves wheat crackers, Brenda craves sour candy, and Max, oh boy, he needs protein bars and milk and applesauce
It's Walmart,
and jerky.
built for your business. Who knew?